I'm pissed. Why do you think I'm pissed, Oz? By the way, game night with the game nights, Loki episode 6. Yeah.
I haven't the slightest idea, Shad. Why are you pissed?
Because of how offensively bad Loki episode 6 was. And I'm not friggin' kidding, and we're going to go into it right now. And if you think it is, I come with receipts.
Oh, well, I actually didn't mind it that much. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, you've got no taste. No, look, sorry. I'm only saying it because I'm so annoyed. But I'm also feeling sick, which means I'm going to be more blunt as well. And I'm only here because my rage is giving me energy, otherwise I'd be in bed. But after watching that... Now, by the way, I need to, like... You're allowed to like it. I'm sorry, Oz. You're more than allowed to like it.
Apparently not.
No, but it's not good. Like, if episode 1 did, like, a nuke on the world building of the MCU and stuff, this one was like that times 100. Ugh.
Well, wasn't that bad, sure.
No.
I mean, like, let me just... It was worse than World War II war crimes, man. It was like... I hated it!
I'm offended on behalf of my love of pop culture and good writing.
As usual, as usual, I'm kind of in the middle ground as these two. I don't hate it as much as Shad, but I didn't really enjoy it.
I enjoyed it.
What did you enjoy about it? Because if I was to take away all my criticisms, right, in terms of world building and the implications and the sloppy execution and the poor twist and nothing being creative and all that stuff, the episode itself was just flat. The fighting was crap. Loki gets, again, thrown out of the climax, just chucked back in the TVA, and...
I hate it when the girl denies me the climax.
It happened, though. She did that.
The reason I'm kind of enjoying it is because I'm not looking at it from the perspective of an autistic story physicist like you, Shad, okay? I'm looking at it from the sense of...
You don't need it. You need just basic standards for the writing.
Well, I hate Transformers, but I like this, you know? I hate Halo, but I like this. It's not that bad.
Okay, so, spoilers, of course. Loki and Sylvie go to Discount Hogwarts and meet... What would you call him?
His name is Kang.
Yeah,
Well, he was known as Kang.
Well, I'm trying to think of, like, there's Discount Hogwarts, and he is Discount Mufasa. I don't know. No, Mufasa doesn't match.
No.
He's eating an apple, of course, when he's eating an apple.
Discount Rafiki.
So, the thing is, like, this episode proves me right on a lot of things, and I should be much happy about that.
Well,
but
it proved me right on things too.
I didn't want to be right on a lot of things. The big one I didn't want to be right on, the prediction I made at the very first episode of Loki, like when our review, I made a prediction about the friggin' TVA, and this is what has pissed me off the most, is that I was right about it. And it ruins every...
What was the prediction?
TVA was justified.
Oh, no.
Loki friggin' says so. The hero main character of the thing comes back and says, we made a terrible mistake in freeing the timeline. He's literally arguing on the sake of Kang that Kang was doing the right thing.
But even the villain said it's a necessary evil. You kill the devil, who else are you going to get? He admitted it was
That's
bad.
why it's so bad. It's a necessary evil.
Well, they made a mistake in killing him without actually planning anything.
And Loki contradicts his character so much in this. He's like, by the end of it, he wasn't Loki to me anymore at all with what he was doing. Like, he had more in line with Steve Rogers than actual Loki. Like, he's fighting for order instead of chaos and freedom.
No, he is. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I'll talk about that later.
Absolute friggin' bullcrap. Not my Loki. Not my friggin' Loki. This is not Loki! That's why I'm pissed! Friggin'
To be fair, Shad, when are you not pissed?
When I watch something good.
What's good that's been come out in the past year?
Past year?
One good thing. Don't say Castlevania, because season 2 and 3 and 4 suck, apparently.
What have I watched recently? I don't watch a lot of recent stuff now, because, like, I'm sure there's something. This is the problem, right? I have all this stuff in my immediate memory, and that's blocking me accessing my long-term memory, and I'm sure I could think of something, but nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah. Well, I was right about a few things.
Yeah?
First episode, I said, hey, the timeline of the MCU is circular.
Yeah, yes, you know,
Caught on to
because,
that?
like, all right, so we'll go to the beginning of the episode. We see a visual representation, and this is not, like, I believe this is more literally a representative, because you can't really depict what a universe would look like from the fourth dimensional perspective or something like that.
Well, it's all the universes. All of them stacked up on top of each
well,
other.
no, we only see two in the beginning.
What do you mean?
We literally, at the beginning of this episode, we see there's quotes, lines, everything comes out, zooms out, and we see a black hole with a ring around it with like a university thing, and then it goes and pans over to another one, and then it zooms in on that one and goes to the center of that hole, and then we see Discount Hogwarts.
Yeah, but what do you call it? When he's doing his little explanation thing with his little hologram on the table.
Yeah, he
says,
stacks this up, but he's destroyed the rest of those now. Those don't, like, in terms of this, now the TVA.
I thought they were just going through all of those universes, changing what they wanted. Otherwise, how can the other
No, because he can only be the one Kang. Otherwise, if there's a like if that was the case, he would be going to all the other universes to make them identical to the main one.
But how could you prune an infinite amount of universes?
Yeah, good question.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying
Good
maybe,
question.
just maybe, you have misinterpreted a slight bit.
No,
No, you're 100% right. The writers are not. They're just.
No.
The
This is the
writers
thing.
of this show. are
No.
completely
You know what
wrong.
I was else right about?
What?
When you and I are arguing about multiple timelines or other timelines thing.
Yes.
What was my ultimate prediction about it?
I can't remember.
It wasn't that I would be right.
What was it?
It was that they won't give us any more information and they'll just leave
But
it.
they did. They said there's multiple timelines stacked on top of each other. We found out.
No.
we can talk to
Multiple
each other.
universes.
Oh, multiple universes stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah.
We can communicate with each other.
But this is the thing. He says that world building part of the TVA was correct. A lot of it was correct, and that was in the sense that they don't exist anymore. They're wiped out. He wiped them out.
He didn't.
Yes, he did. He's the only one Kang. He can only allow one Kang, one universe to exist.
Maybe he's This is tricky. Maybe he's. What do you call it? What's the glowy stick thing? Stick of destiny.
Glow stick of death.
Yeah. Maybe he's pruning all the other ones of him. He's pruning all of his other versions.
Yeah, the only way that would be the case if he was making all the other universes identical to the main MCU timeline.
No, it's not.
No, you know why?
How?
Because he's only allowing one version of him to exist, because as soon as you have any other version, remember, they're a lot worse than him, and he was warning, they're going to come back into existence now if you kill me, and because now we're in the thing. So he was establishing very clearly that the TVA was enforcing a timeline that would only ever eventuate into him. He is the one Kang, because all the other Kangs are worse.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Thank you.
I'll say, I don't believe this, but for the benefit of Shad's mental health, I'm going to say Shad was right about timelines. I believe the exact opposite. I think it's multiple realities stacked on each other into one timeline of things that they're editing. But for the sake of Shad...
if that was the case, how could you have, different... how could they achieve the purpose, the TVA?
Because they're editing all... for example, right?
Yeah. There could be multiple timelines, but they have to make them all identical to each other. That's my...
No, I think they're editing all the timelines, events, and they might have similarities, right? But there's differences, and they just edit the biggest differences they don't want to stop certain things from happening.
I'll say right now, there could be multiple timelines, but are we told that explicitly? That was my prediction. We're not going to be given anything more, and we're just going to have to speculate.
Well, if he says at the beginning...
Because this thing, they don't have their world building solidified into a core, single document. This is how it works.
Yeah, show, don't tell.
No. I by the contradiction, especially there is a contradiction at the end of this that nearly made me spit. Okay, right. And this proves that the writers don't know what they're doing, right? The hand-waving answers that they give in the show are the answers they gave to themselves and they thought of being perfectly satisfactory, and they don't actually have any solid rules that explain it. If you're writing something, right, when I create a universe, I create the rules. This is the foundation and everything is built up. And so when I get here, I see, is this contradicting something over here? And I can check because it's all built on the foundation. This... They haven't. They've just spat random things out. Organize. What does organize mean? We still don't know that. Well, actually, I think it is pretty explicit that now they're destroyed because of the one.
Well, what does organize mean? To take chaos and organize it into a way of order. There you go. That's what they've done.
By destroying all other realities.
Not destroying them, changing them.
So they haven't, like, explained what...
They did, though. They said that we get the remote cluster charge thing that gets rid of the variation. Mm-hmm. We put it into place. It destroys the variation. Well, doesn't destroy it. Teleports it to the end of time. Mm-hmm. And that's
Which destroys it.
Well, it gets destroyed
it's eaten by the
but it's not the whole universe.
The fart monster.
It's not the whole universe. It's literally just the variation, which is a local thing, like a single point. Like, for example, with Sylvie, you know...
So it's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, with what was established in this episode, that can provide an allowance for multiple universes, but not ones that are variants to each other, that could eventuate into a different Kang into existence. His goal...
Well, there you go. Maybe that...
I already explained that. Yeah, no, I said they could be multiple ones, but they'd all have to be identical to each other.
No, they're not identical. Otherwise, why is there the Black Loki? Why is there the Crocodile Loki? Why is there all these other Lokis?
That's the contradiction.
But here's the thing. There's an infinite amount of them, and these are just a handful that are found.
It's actually not an infinite amount.
How many is it?
It's only the amount that has Kang in it. All the other universes...
But he says, if I die, there's an infinite amount of me you'll have to deal with.
Yeah, and then there's another infinite of universes without him. You know why? Because we're in a universe where Kang is a fictional story.
Hey, you say that.
Yeah.
But there are certain historians...
So... Because the point that it's established, right, that Kang's goal is to prune... One timeline, multiple timelines. It's not said explicitly, which was my prediction. They're not going to be clear about it at all.
Well, how could they be so clear, specific about how many?
Because they don't know themselves.
What did you want him to say? I've done this many specific.
Right now, we know that there was multiple universes before Kang did his thing. That led to the Multiversal War. We don't know if the current TVA is monitoring one universe, one timeline, or multiple universes with their own singular timeline. That's not explained.
I think they're all.
What do you think, Ben? Sorry.
Oh. No, I'm just kidding. That's all right. I like listening to you.
Just hurry up and say it, Ben. We don't have all the time in the world. This isn't the TVA.
Honestly, I've got to side with Shad on this one. They haven't made it clear, and I just don't know. Because they, like I said, haven't made it clear.
And it's because they don't know themselves.
Present me your things, your objections in question forms. Like, if they're contradictions that don't work, can you form it in like a question, and I can answer it with what they've said in the show.
Okay. Is there any evidence that the TVA has jumped into another reality, parallel reality, or anything that is eventuated from its own Big Bang and not a branching from a singular timeline in the whole show?
Well, no, they haven't gone back to the beginning of time.
No, they've gone to other parallel realities, which is, people changing something they don't like.
That was a question where, like, have they gone here with this addendum that shows that this is this?
If we were to go off the evidence, the only parallels that exist that the TVA is concerned with are branches from the original timeline, and there's only one timeline at the moment. There is no evidence anywhere that there is another timeline that is not branched off from the main one.
How do you know that? Do you want them to go back to the beginning of time and be like...
Actually...
Do you want them to tell you there's been multiple Big Bangs?
There is one point of evidence. We haven't seen the TVA jump into other, realities, but the only point of evidence is the beginning of this episode where we see two universes.
Well, there you go. If you see two, why can't there be more than two?
Or why can't they be limited to two?
Especially since there's more than two.
There's more than two. But your assumption is exactly as well. Yeah. Like, there could be just two.
Because Shad's talked about this before.
There's more than one Loki. Yeah, there's more than two Lokis.
But so Shad has talked. But the thing is saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong. The thing is saying is that those variants of Lokis are not coming from different universes. They're coming from.
No, they're coming from different. Universes.
They're coming from different universes across the same timeline.
They're all coming from branches off of the one timeline.
The way I see it is like this. Like, if you have a calendar, right, for the same year, they're all the same things, right? But there's different versions of the same calendar. And they're just changing the things that they want to happen on each day of the year, in each set of events. They're changing what they want to happen across all the different timelines. Because they can't destroy the entire timeline. They can prune the branches and stop them deviating too much.
I think what we're getting confused between what you and I are discussing, when we say timeline, I agree, there are multiple timelines, but so far, every other variant timeline branches off from the main one.
Where do you get that from, though?
Every single branching reality that I've jumped to has only been a branch up. We haven't seen them jump or enter into any other reality.
If the timeline's circular like it shows, how could it have a beginning point?
Yeah, but this is the thing, and I think this is what Shad's getting at. the only things that they have actually specifically clarified in the show is that there are multiple universes that follow one timeline.
That's what I've said this whole time. They're changing the events. Like imagine it's this.
But you've been asking how do you know that there's nothing else? Okay, and the thing is because they haven't clarified anything in the show, anything else that is other than that is what Shad's talked about before is headcanon.
They've clarified plenty.
Where?
Again, ask a question that doesn't have 3 amendments.
No, that's my question. Where have they shown that there is...
Where have they shown there's multiple Big Bangs?
Yeah.
Well, they haven't, because they haven't gone back to the beginning of time, but they have shown multiple universes, so you can just assume.
Yeah, but they've been talking about those multiple universes following the same time.
I'm talking about...
I know.
When have they shown multiple universes after the TVA got rid of them?
Again, like... Time in this thing is a circle, okay? And all these universes are layered up on top of each other.
Yeah, I get that. We started with that. There was multiple universes. Where is the evidence that those multiple universes still exist after the TVA got rid of them?
Because there's multiple Lokis. All of them
No,
different
all
types
those Lokis have been established that they are branching off of the same timeline, even Sylvie.
No, but how did the old Loki, who's wearing a completely different costume, who survived Thanos, who had a completely set of different events... Remember, he said... I survived Thanos. I was meant to be a god of loneliness. That is completely different to what the Loki from the... if we take your interpretation, which is one timeline with one set of events, that's completely different.
No. It is now completely different, but it originally branched off of the main primary timeline because they said, what did you do that was different? The old Loki said, implying everything was the same up to the point where Thanos was about to kill him, and then he tried to survive.
When I tried to leave my planet.
Yeah. No. He escaped, he survived, he escaped, and he found a planet to live on until old age. Then he was missing Thor, and that's when he decided to go visit Thor, and that's when he did something variant enough for the TVA to detect him, and he was pruned. He literally says
I was meant to be god of loneliness.
No, he literally says that he was actually a branch off of the main timeline.
I don't think he said
yes,
he
did.
Branch.
No, it was when he
meant to
survived
be...
Thanos. That was the thing he did.
I don't think it was.
Yes, he did. We can go back and check.
We will after this.
We'll have to check, because I'm erring on Oz's side with this one, because it sounds like him trying to escape the planet is what...
he says that.
Yeah.
He says, I was meant to be god of loneliness.
But no, it sounds like only escaping the planet, like not surviving
Hang on,
Thanos.
No. He said he was able to remain under the TVA's radar, something to that effect, because he lived on the planet alone, and it's only when he tried to say hi to Thor again that the TVA detected him.
Right, okay, because there was enough of a time variance.
Enough of time variance.
Okay,
he says the point of variance, the original actual point of variance that jumped him off of the main timeline, was surviving Thanos.
Okay, then what about Alligator Loki? What about Black Loki?
And so it all goes back to what originally caused the variance. And so, for instance, Sylvie... Whatever frost giant, was her parents, he did a different sex position to cause a different sperm to create a female. That was the point of variance for her from the original. There was a black frost giant parent this time.
But and that's a bigger deviation.
Exactly, you're right. This is why it's all a contradictory mess.
See, Shad, your interpretation requires there to be such a fundamental flaw. Mine requires you to have to made a small mistake.
No. Mine actually fits perfectly. Like, all these variants can be branches off of the main central timeline because that's the evidence that the show tells us.
But the show has shown us that there is no branch off the main timeline that they haven't been able to contain.
No. Well, yeah, that's why all those variant Lokis were in the Void Ring. They've all been snipped.
Yeah, but that's a handful of them, and they lived up till that time. So my guess is they're from different, universes, and they've been snipped because in that universe they went outside. They variated.
How it's answered is that the TVA doesn't snip everything at the exact point of variance where it starts. It takes longer for them to detect variances at some points. The evidence for this is old Loki. He was able to live until however many years until he was really old before the TVA detected he was a variant. And so that actually establishes how they can be so different and go on these timelines that are so variant, because it took, and this is, I don't like it because the TVA has been detecting everything instantly, and you can't allow, like they literally said, if you allow, that's why the board building is, because they, remember, you establish rules by showing, they've established rules without realizing they've established rules. The rule they established in episode 2 was that if you leave a variant, like a change too long, you can't do anything about it, and it creates a nexus event, and the whole reality can be destroyed.
But you're telling me that
but then in episode 5, they show not only can you create a variant that lasts longer than like a couple of hours from the time, it lasts friggin' years while you live on a planet.
Yeah, so you're telling me that in the terms of the events, you can take Loki out of every event of his life, replace him with an alligator, and that's still exactly the same, falls in line with the TVA's plan. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why the TVA prunes it.
Yeah, but why would they allow this? Like, if Loki's an alligator, something's gone wrong.
Yeah, clearly.
So there you go. So that doesn't make any sense why they've waited this long. Like, there would have been tons of changes up till then.
Yeah,
to cause
because
that.
the TVA are incompetent.
No, Shad, because you've made a small misunderstanding that you're running with.
No, I'm not. I'm going off the evidence that's in the show
Well,
directly.
what's the misunderstanding?
If there's multiple versions of Loki that we've seen,
Yeah.
right? And if... Oh, God. Okay, so... If it's one timeline, one single universe, and they're all meant to follow that series of events, like, exactly,
Okay.
they're all meant to be the same Loki,
Yeah.
right? Then there can't be other variants of them. There can't be a black version. There can't be an alligator.
Okay.
There can't be a...
So what's your point?
My point is that...
they've shown how it's possible.
Yeah, but then why are you saying there's a contradiction?
I'm saying that it can happen with one central timeline because the TVA shows that a variant can, like, when someone creates a change, it can actually continue on for years with those changes cascading to cause a bigger effect to the point where you get an alligator Loki or a black Loki or a female Loki or a frost giant Loki until the TVA registers it and then comes in and prunes it.
So they've gone...
And the evidence for that is old Loki. We literally have...
What about all the other Lokis, though? That undoes the theory.
No. We now then can take exactly the standard that one established.
Alligator Loki, how did they fix that? They got the Loki that was an alligator for his entire timeline, probably lived in a swamp Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
They took the alligator out, replaced it with Tom Hiddleston, and there you go. Tom Hiddleston is perfectly fine in his swamp with Frog Thor.
You know what he could have come from?
What?
He could have come from one of the universes that existed at the beginning of the TVA when they wiped out the other universes. That's where like massive where they have their own Big Bang and stuff like that. Because every time the TVA has operated from that point on, it's always been within the one sacred timeline.
Well, I mean, again, you've just made a massive other thing to circumvent my question.
Because it fits in with the rules that are established.
The rule that is established is multiple timelines operate, multiple universes operating on the same series of events that they edit.
Okay, it could be. This is the thing. I think there's evidence for that. I think there's evidence for me.
Okay.
My point is that they don't clarify. As proven by the fact we're still friggin' arguing about it!
They don't clarify enough for you.
And that's why I was asking questions.
No,
Because...
if it wasn't clear, I'd be on your side, Oz.
Yeah, no, but this is the thing, okay? And this is where I agree with Shad, because I understand what you're saying. But the thing is, the thing that you're saying, though it makes sense, they haven't established those parameters as the rules in
And
the
not
series.
only
I
that,
think they have.
and not only that, I bet the writers don't even have that as... I don't even think they have like a core list of set rules, and they just want to throw out, oh, we need something explained. This kind of doesn't make sense. We'll just say this. And they spew something out because they know most audiences will be perfectly fine with
That's
it.
completely fair. They've just been like, throw something on the wall. We'll see what sticks. It's fine, guys. We don't know what we're doing. We're just writing this multi-million-dollar TV show. We have no idea what we're doing. Just bam, bam, bam. No, Shad,
You know why?
Misinterpretation.
No, you know why? Because they have contradicted themselves on so many times. For instance, a variant, that branches off can only last for a certain amount of time before it causes a Nexus event, versus old Loki living for frigging years on a planet on his own from the point of variance, contradicting exactly the first rule that variant can't last for too long, otherwise the next event, and now they can last for frigging years.
Well, it's only contradicted in your interpretation, not
No, this is very clear.
This is the thing, okay? So I get what Shad's saying here. So, for example, the old Loki is old because he survived Thanos. Okay, that is literally a being who is not supposed to exist after a certain point, and yet they keep on existing. Okay, the contradiction is the TVA have detected smaller variants and charged people guilty.
Yeah, being late
that.
for work apparently. Yeah, Black Loki,
so
Alligator Loki, that's all fine.
So they grabbed the guy who was late for work, okay, and they fizzled him, pruned him, okay. Yet a being who is not supposed to be alive was alive, and they didn't detect him until years later.
That's actually what the contradiction I'm pointing out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that there is one of the contradictions that they haven't explained.
The contradiction I'm pointing out is that in episode 2, they're very clear that they can't allow a variant timeline to exist for too long, otherwise it hits the red line and causes a Nexus event, and that is bad.
But Black Loki with fake Mjolnir, or maybe real Mjolnir, that's fine up until he's like 50 years old. And
Again, contradicting what they established in episode 2. This is what I mean about them not knowing.
This is the thing,
Not
though,
my
okay?
interpretation.
No, but this is the thing.
Adult Loki, the point of variance is surviving Thanos. Can we agree that?
Then why is there a Black Loki? Why is there
but this is the thing, okay? So,
So I'm not even talking about Black Loki. What I'm talking about is the example that shows that the writers are contradicting themselves with the rules that
and
are
I'm saying
established.
they're not. I'm
No.
saying
And the example. So this is where we'll go back to old Loki. It is established in episode 5 that the point of variance is him surviving Thanos. We can agree there. And then he goes on to live in a variant timeline for years on a planet until he gets old.
I'm not 100% certain.
It is. I am 100% guaranteed.
Okay, you might be, I'm not.
Look, let's look it up. Because this is what the argument is founded on. So we're bringing out a phone. Because if I'm right here, this shows that they're contradicting themselves with the rules they're establishing.
So, the issue...
Do you have Disney Plus?
No.
Money Disney Plus. Do you have your phone, Chatsky?
I'll just get it on the web browser.
It might take too long, but we'll cut this out. But if I do get my phone, I will.
Well, we can end that part there, and afterwards we'll check, and then we'll insert.
Because we'll forget. Because...
Oh, I won't forget. I'll be editing this.
Yeah, but can you... So, all right. How about we... If I am right in what I'm saying about Loki, will you agree then that this is a direct contradiction with the rules they've established?
But it doesn't take into account the other Lokis that are much more different than old Loki.
Regardless, this is just showing that a variant timeline could go on to exist for years, contradicting the rule they established in episode 2 that if a variant timeline exists too long and hits the red line, it creates a Nexus event. No Nexus event was created.
That's one example of a Loki who's just older. He's not like...
No. The example is the length of the time.
I have a point to make for you, Oz. First of all, can I have your login info?
We'll do this after.
Okay, no worries. So my point is, okay, and this is another thing that's headcanon, okay, because this is another thing that they haven't explained in the series. So, for example, the two biggest differences in the Lokis that we've seen in the series are Black Loki and Alligator Loki.
I'd say Alligator Loki's the biggest.
Yeah, but like no, I'm talking about
I know.
away from the Tom Hiddleston thing. Okay, so there's two possible outcomes for that. Okay, one, which is in my opinion, the less likely outcome, is that Black Loki and Alligator Loki started off as Tom Hiddleston Loki, and then their variants became so great that it ended up in them being Black Loki and Crocodile Loki.
You're saying that Tom Hiddleston's Loki is using magical blackface and magical alligator
No, I'm just saying that something happened in the variant.
Actually, that could be a more likely explanation for Alligator Loki. Because Loki can morph and change into other creatures,
Sure, but...
So,
and then he just
I haven't finished my point yet. So, the second possibility is that these two belong to a universe where, in Alligator Loki's perspective, that, every single being in that universe that would normally be a human in our universe is actually an alligator, because that's the universe. And same with Black Loki, everyone's black.
Well, in Alligator Loki's universe, Thor's a frog. And maybe Odin's a turtle, and maybe Frigga's a...
Thor's a frog?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
No, it doesn't say it in the... But there's a comic book where there's Frog Thor and Alligator Loki.
Yeah, but so... that's the thing. So, like... That would explain why there's a Black Loki and an Alligator Loki, because these... universes are so different from ours, where even the beings are actually different species, but the timeline is still the same.
Yeah, that's. I've been saying that there's been differences like maybe some different events happened, like for example, the Asgardians are more like Wakanda than we previously knew, like stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like there's differences, but they're changing all the timelines so that certain things do and don't happen.
That's your interpretation.
And it doesn't require all these different... Well, what about this? What about this?
Oz, you've been doing what about this? What about?
Not really.
No, I've
stuck to it's multiple different universes, and the TVA is editing the timelines as they see fit.
Yeah, and I've said the show only establishes that there is one timeline, and that every other variant timeline we've seen so far is a branch of the original.
Then how is there multiple?
And I've explained that.
How? Sentence answer. Can you give me a sentence answer quickly?
That the original branch happened further behind to allow more changes as it progressed.
But it's a circular timeline.
Oz, that doesn't matter. So you're saying a circular timeline can't have a branch that goes on for a very long time that allows for wrong sex position. Now we have female Loki.
Okay, and so how do they fix that?
They prune there and prune there. Done.
Okay, but there's still... But what about Alligator Loki? That entire
this is the
universe,
thing. Okay. And this is the thing that they
Well,
don't. These are
it
the
could
thing
be
that
a Loki that teleported into an alligator and got stuck. We don't.
These are the things that they don't explain.
what
That's
about an
Shad's
alligator
point.
that got stuck?
No,
Guys.
yeah, you changed to an alligator and he wasn't able to change back. We don't know why he's an alligator.
Guys,
That's not established.
this is the things that the series doesn't explain, and this
Thank
is
you.
Shad's point.
No, but from my perspective, the series has explained this, and you have
Not at all.
caught on.
No, from my perspective, it's that in reverse, and you have not caught on. But this is the thing: we can't know definitively, and that was like I said, this was the more likely outcome that they won't be clear on it.
But it makes more sense. It lines up with the comics that there's multiple universes where things are slightly different.
However, and people have I've used that argument before, and people have called me out saying that the MCU contradicts the comics a lot.
Yeah, because they're changing it up a bit, right?
Yeah, and they've done the exact same thing here.
Yeah, you can't rely on comic book canon to establish this. We have to go off what's in the show.
Again, it's like...
They contradict how the Infinity Stones work in the MCU.
Yeah, sure, but those are small things, but this is an overarching
That's a
theme.
massive thing.
So TLDR, we have two different perspectives of what's happened. Someone thinks that it hasn't been explained enough, and someone else thinks that it has been explained enough. What else didn't we like about it, guys?
I was kind of...
So, by the way, just if you want to talk about if other universes exist, there is a thing in this episode that contradicts that. When Kang is showing that there were... So first he says there were multiple universes, and we see the ring...
And he specifically says stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah, and then when he says, finally we only had my one perfect thing, like that, he only shows one. He doesn't show multiple. He says, finally, that my
I'll have to go
TVA
back and watch that.
achieves one. So that actually is a point of
have to go
evidence on
back
my
and
behalf.
check that.
Yeah. So the thing is, all right, they're not clear. And again, because like I'm hammering this through, I really feel the writers have actually no solid foundation for the set rules because they're contradicting their rules. The old Loki, the length of variant that a timeline can continue on, contradicts episode 2, where they're desperate, like, it's reaching grand dimension, we've got to, and what it was you delaying us, Loki, yes, how dare you, and everything. And so, all right, let's go on to some other things that annoyed me. There's a line, someone is doing something without disrupting, and then they have an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, remember he tempted... The Minutes tried to tempt him, like, hey, you can even have the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because she says we can fit you back into the timeline without too much disruption, and then she offers him the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm thinking that will cause a lot of disruption on the timeline. What do you like?
What if he already knows? What if they already know what he's going to do with it? So they
because hang on, there's actually a big contradiction, right? We now know the sacred timeline is specifically the timeline that leads to the Kang the Conqueror we meet in this episode.
Yes.
So therefore, that is a satisfying explanation. Before it was
Not for
like,
me.
no, like in terms of world building and what makes logical sense, I was wanting to know why do they need the timeline to go along a certain path of events?
Yes.
Okay, and I was like, what could possibly explain this? The answer is so the right Kang will always be born in the year 30 whatever, which is the Kang we meet, and so any change that would alter the eventuality of him being born has to be pruned, which means a hell of a lot. Which means, how the hell could they give Loki the Infinity Gauntlet for him to be able to control the entire universe in the sacred timeline and still have the move according to the same path to eventuate with that Kang the Conqueror? I have a feeling that Kang the Conqueror didn't have Loki ruling the universe in his past.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now you get into a messy thing of, causality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is... like... As soon as they've now given us enough rope for them to hang on 1,000 times over. And this is one example exactly like that. Because they establish, right, the multiversal war was literally caused by multiple Kangs, okay? And he says infinite amount of them.
Yeah.
Okay? The thing is, it would take only the smallest change 10 years ago. The further you go back, the smaller change... The greater chance a smaller change has of changing things to the point where that Kang won't be born, because so many things can change.
Butterfly effect.
Exactly. You need a marrying of circumstances so damn specifically for a person to be born. And you change anything, you could go back 100 years and you sneeze or bump into someone to the road, and that could change and to the point where if you go 100 years in the future, everyone who would have been born, like maybe not 100, go 1,000 or a couple even more, right? It's a completely different set of individuals because
separate from bumping into someone or shooting them in the chest.
Like if you go onto the nature of if you go into the nature of biology, right? If I had relations with my wife on a different day and she fell pregnant, my child would be different.
How do you know that for certainty?
It's the amount of sperm and probability, Oz.
Yeah, but again,
it's rolling like
how do you know it's not destiny?
Ben, how much sperm is in the average ejaculation?
Hey, Shad, that's a question for me.
Do you want measurements or numbers of sperm?
Because that's
15 million cells. I'm pretty sure.
That's
it's around about a tablespoon.
No, it's 15 million cells per.
15 million?
I'm pretty sure it is.
So my
15,
child,
30.
like, without the exact specific set of circumstances, trying to change it up, there's what, 1 in 15, how many?
Yeah, but to be fair, like...
Every sperm has a different, like when they marry with the egg, there's a different combination of DNA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much, guys.
And this is the thing, because...
I need to clarify.
What about
Your sperm carries your DNA,
yes,
okay?
Yes.
But it's the unique combination between the sperm and the egg that creates a random individual, and that you don't determine which parts on the DNA marry.
Yeah.
And so, if you even do a different sex position, like we were saying with Sylvie, different person, okay? And so...
Remember, kids, missionary for the sole purpose of procreation, or, right, cowgirl is acceptable, but never reverse cowgirl. No, we have standards here. Like Shad says, standards, people.
It's kind of nice to...
No! You should be looking into your woman's eyes as you put other things into her.
All right, so this is what I mean about enough rope to hang themselves on in regards to possible futures. Yes, it's established... He even says there's going to be an infinite amount of universes with different Kangs in. But there's also another infinite amount of infinite groups of universes where he won't be in. What?
Kangs, sorry. Oh, man.
Hey, that's his name! What can I do? It's his friggin' name!
You didn't write it.
Yeah, I know. So there's an infinite number of infinite universes that won't have Kang in it, and therefore have no risk in the multiversal war.
Yeah.
This is why the multiversal war is a non-issue. It's fine. Kang's an a-hole. Let them kill themselves, and all the other infinite groups of infinite universes will go along just fine. And you know what this Loki needs to do?
What?
Just protect his one universe.
And also...
Done!
Point to you, okay, so they changed things at the end, right? And oh my goodness, now there's a different statue. Well, it seems like everything else is exactly the same. Why is that a big deal? It all seems exactly the same.
No. I'm saving that one to last.
Oh.
Because that's the one where I'm nearly having an aneurysm on.
He's like, oh my goodness, a statue changed.
No, this is... You have no idea how much that pissed me off.
We're about to unleash the Hulk here, people.
Friggin' hell. These writers have no idea. Oh. Okay, going back, all right?
Go back.
Yeah. All right, we want to go through somewhat chronologically, so I'm going to return to this point about the multiversal war is an utter garbage, stupid premise that does not make sense and is not a good, foundation for the TVA and the thing. Like, if you're like, all the conflict. Most of the all the primary conflict of this story is eventuating from the world building, so the world building needs to be important. And so, if you're going to be doing that, you need a causal thing to make friggin' sense. Oh, one ring connected to this really bad, powerful, evil entity. We kill the one ring, we kill the... Makes sense! Really good! Okay, multiversal war, friggin' retarded! And I'll explain why when we get there.
Can we just have one little moment to breathe and talk about something really incredible?
Yes.
This artwork made by Nikhail, how incredible is it, Shad? You can see it floating in mid-air.
It's amazing. Like, I would have preferred this over... I get Oz... Oz is my Loki! This is not my Loki! Oz, his normal behaviour is more like the real Loki that should have existed in the MCU than this friggin' piece of SHIT! Ben, could you turn the aircon on? It's getting really warm in here. I don't know why.
I promised I wouldn't cry, but you said I'm more like Loki. Thank you. You're welcome. Oops. Dude, I'd love to be Loki, eh? I'd mess with people.
You're basically Loki reincarnated.
In this office, yeah. Out in the world, I'm a good Christian boy. But in this office, things
Yeah,
change.
aircon.
Want to open the window?
No, just get that once that's
It's bloody hot, isn't it?
Yeah, no, wonder why I'm getting so hot. It's not like I'm yelling.
There's really cold Mountain Dew in the fridge.
I'm not worried.
that?
I'm
Okay.
getting
There's
the
also
aircon.
Red Bull.
No,
So it's on cold and Liam.
Yeah, I put it onto cold and 17.
Cool. Okay. Come back.
yeah, I'm getting warm in here too. Toasty.
It's all this hot air.
So, small little thing, though. The meta reason why is on the wall. I like that Sylvie went to try and kill Kang right away. Okay, the writers only allowed her to do that because he had an escape. Okay.
What did you think of Kang's character? Regardless of all the things around him, I actually thought his character was pretty
I
cool.
actually liked his character.
Yeah, you know, right? I could go along with King's character. He was like, I know. Look, he was basically uninvested because he's gone through it. He knows what's happening, and so
Even Kang,
and he was old.
Kang
And
was
so
more
it's like,
Loki
yeah,
than
so I
Loki.
don't. Yes, he what? That's
But no,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
I really liked how he had like the laissez-faire kind of attitude that someone with literally all power and all life would actually have, because nothing impresses him anymore, and he's just like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of do whatever.
You know how I feel about capitalism. Don't say laissez-faire, I'll ejaculate too quickly.
Anyway, I really liked the change in his attitude as soon as it hit the point where he didn't know what was happening anymore. He seemed legitimately surprised that he couldn't tell what was going on.
Well, he seemed to be pretty apathetic after that, you know. He's like, okay, kill me.
But
So
at first he was actually excited by it.
Yeah.
You saw him, he was like, you know, like not even knowing.
Well, he was excited about a lot of stuff, even though he knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Finally, everything like, okay, I guess we've got to do this now and this.
all right. What were you saying again? Yeah.
Did
So
you give me too much rope, eh?
I really do. All right. So what were you saying?
Just like I liked his character. I thought he was
yeah,
fun.
I like this character.
Yeah, and like, isn't it sad and pathetic when he shows up the main character?
Yeah, more charismatic than Loki.
Loki has become. He was the least interesting part of the whole episode. Loki's become this earnest. We got to do the right thing. And look, you could have Loki try and do the right thing and still be mischievous and everything like that. But then the fact that he goes to fight against something that is so fundamentally and quintessentially in opposition to the very core of his being, and we'll get. So look, shelve that again. We'll come back to it chronologically.
Let's put a pin in it.
All right, so I've talked about the Miss Minutes appearing. So remember my predictions of who would be the evil person,
Yes.
Miss Minutes or Kang?
Yes.
They kind of
right.
both.
Yeah.
I kind of win on both of those, I think.
I want to be Loki.
I told you I wouldn't be.
Would you prefer it? To
I
be
said
Loki?
maybe. No, that would have been typical. I kind of.
Yeah, but he's dealing with his own. He's dealing with himself in this show. That's the whole
Look,
thing.
it doesn't really. I can't really take credit for anything because King the Conqueror was pretty obvious. Like. Just
for me.
and for the meta, because he was going to be set up in Ant-Man, and so you knew he was going to be coming in. The judge lady is actually King the Conqueror's girlfriend in the comics, and so they wouldn't put her in unless Kang's.
Ravina Ravenclaw or something like that.
I forget her. Yeah, well, she does end up going to discount Hogwarts, so.
And she's a school teacher.
And she's a school teacher.
There's a variant of her from Hogwarts.
Crossover confirmed.
Done. So there are some really big contradictions in terms of my brain just went dead. Philosophy, that's one way to put it. Ideology, okay. Mobius comes in and he argues with the judge lady and is like, what about free will? And when I heard that, it's like, it really felt hollow because he didn't care about free will before. But look, last episode he said, you justify a lot of things in the name of the greater good before, everything like that. So he's now all on board with free will now. But it felt hollow to me.
I guess it's like
Loki literally brings up free will in one of the previous episodes when they're talking at the thing, and he didn't care.
Yeah.
And so he had all the information essentially he did now, apart from that
he was a variant.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, he said like something on
Wait, no, sorry. It's like just like a communist. Wait, this affects me now?
yes, isn't that right?
That's when they're upset about it.
It felt like that though. Because there was actually a line.
That's
like,
fitting. It's bloody communists, man.
Owen Wilson comes in. I've seen the horror waiting for people on the other end of being pruned, and there's nothing necessary about that. And now, when I heard that, I was like, hang on.
Didn't you think you were destroying them before?
Yeah, he fully believed that he was wiping out their existence before,
Yeah.
and now the only difference is that they get eaten by a fart monster in a space in between.
Be specific. It's a purple fart.
A
monster.
purple fart monster in between them getting pruned, and so he was perfectly fine with literally killing people before. Now it's a fart monster. It's like, that's too far for me.
Yeah.
Fart monster.
Just a second, we'll have to cut this out.
I thought
You farted?
No,
Green fart monster.
we should get a clip of Eliath roaring, except replace the roar with a fart sound.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do that.
That'll
Yeah, I'll
be
do
good.
that.
So that felt really hollow for me. I really did feel like he only cares now because his head was on the chopping block.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like all communists.
Yeah. And so then, how freaking anticlimactic and sad was this? So he tries to fight the judge lady, and she just, without even trying, it was and it was one of those ones where they weren't even trying in the choreography, the attempt. Like Owen Wilson was just like, just even do that, that'll be enough. Like it felt like that, like a complete dive while you're watching it. At least try and make it convincing.
I thought he was going to do something clever, like that was a ruse, like, take it, but it's set on a self-immolation thing. Like, but no, it's just like, I'm a strong woman and I can take it off you.
Exactly.
Big evil man.
And once again, like, this is going in line, and I said it kind of balanced out last episode. Like, in the view of last episode, I said how they show an anti-communist message.
Yes.
That is completely contradicted by this episode now.
Wow.
Because they completely try and say the TVA were justified. They're all in favour of communism
I
in this
thought they
episode.
called it a necessary evil.
Which is what communism is! They say...
Oh, no, communism is an unnecessary evil.
No, but
Government is a necessary evil.
Kang called it a necessary evil, and he's the one that's running the whole thing.
And then Loki agrees with him.
Well, he just wanted to take a moment. He said, wait.
No, this is the thing, okay? Because
No, it wasn't that. When Loki came back to the TVA, he literally said, we made a terrible mistake in freeing the timeline. That's his line, word for word.
Okay.
That's him saying Kang was right.
To be fair, right? What if they didn't kill him, but they just like stayed there with him, made sure he couldn't pass any orders? Like, would that free the timeline? What would happen? He can't control the timeline.
We'll come to the philosophy of this episode a bit later when we get towards that part. But going back to the thing that I was saying is that this episode contradicts any saving grace the last episode had in terms of its messaging. We'll explain more about that a bit later. And then doubles down on the, just the undertone of men just getting wiped out. And regularly I wouldn't have care about this if not for the hypocrisy, okay? Where the other side will scream bloody murder if women are denigrated. They have that thing, they're two women talking to each other, not about men and stuff like that. If not, it's sexist. According to that standard that they're establishing, Loki is a profoundly sexist show against men. By that standard, okay? Every single man is beaten down, shown not, and all the women you celebrate, and so...
Yeah, but Shad, to be fair, I think I said this before, like, if they do what you suggest to be fair, which I would say would be technically like it's the same thing happening, they would get in trouble from all the crazy Twitter people.
They literally have an episode where Loki gets repeatedly kicked in the balls constantly.
I know.
Like,
but if they do the opposite, if they clam slam the other one... Always gotcha.
you're not allowed to drink at the table. Get that away.
oh, damn it.
Maybe I shouldn't just be allowed to talk when he's drinking.
Holy
but
crap.
no, like if they did clam slam, what's her name? Sylvie, then they'd be in trouble for like, oh, how could you hit a lady? How could because
It's hypocrisy, though.
we don't do anything bad, but the other guys do. You know,
It's such a hypocritical thing.
but they're allowed to offend us.
But this
because if they
thing-
offend them, they die. They get shot in the street. Apparently.
Sometimes, this is the thing, this is the reality. Sometimes it's funny to see a man get kicked in the balls, as sometimes it's funny to see a woman get slapped in the face when she deserves it.
That's a spicy meme ball right there.
It can be done for comedy and played off as a joke. If you can play off kicking someone in the balls as a joke, you can play off a woman getting hit.
They do that in airplane.
Yeah,
On a
the
joke.
airplane
Yeah.
one.
Thank you. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And if you say that I'm being sexist, that it's okay to hit a woman, screw you for taking my words out of context, you bad faith interpretation a-hole.
And what Shad means by that is if someone were to come out like right now and say, so basically, Shad, what you're saying is it's funny when people hit women?
Thanks, Kathy Newman.
Oh.
She's a meme now. She'll never live it down.
Kathy Newman.
Holy crap.
More like Kathy Pooman.
Yeah, and so...
Oof.
So the hypocrisy, and Loki is another quintessential example in the whole bag of dog crap media nowadays of the hypocrisy coming out of the extremists on that side, showing that they're actually not about something fair and equal and everything like that. They're after supremacy and power. Because they're willing to perform the same sins as they saw them against their opponents, which means they're just as bad according to their own standards.
But Shad, the solution to oppression is more oppression the other way.
Yeah,
the solution to intolerance is more intolerance.
The only way to make the past fair is to oppress the descendants who had no, input at all onto the oppression of the past and oppress them.
Yes. It's like when you're getting rid of an old king. You kill his entire family. You spare no one.
Yeah, but this isn't fair. The descendants, like the far-removed descendants.
Yep. It's like the Lord Ruler in Mistborn.
Two offences that happened to my ancestors that not really even happened to me.
Yep. Kang is perfectly justified in doing that.
Well, the show says he is. Okay.
Also, right, I thought there might be a solution to Kang's issue. What if instead they just go and prune every version of him? But then again...
That would make more sense, Oz!
Yeah.
Yes!
But then again, they're stuck in the same problem.
We're going to come back to the whole Kang multiversal war. Like this, it is such... This is why this this episode is pissed me off so much, because it's ruined everything. This whole show is built upon vomit. Like, It's brilliant!
Sorry.
That's what they have ideas and they spew them out onto a script and say, look at this, isn't this great? And no one is afraid, no one is willing to say, no, this is garbage because it was clearly written by a retarded person and you can't pull down the work of retarded people. Just to qualify my thing, right? You encourage, people and even other people like mentally disabled people with their works and everything and say, like, thank you, Oz. And say good effort and everything like that. But you don't take it and invest millions of dollars to make a show built around it because the show ends up being absolute dog. S-H-I-T.
Dog vomit. Dog water.
So, yeah, there are constant drops with the TVA being justified, where he says without the TVA everything burns and stuff like that. And so I was writing this down thinking, okay, Kang could ultimately be proven wrong by the Loki saying, you're justifying unimaginable evil. Like, this is... He walks in and he says, my methods may be deceptive. No! Your methods are genocidal in the unfathomable level. You're wiping out universes.
Wow.
And that is confirmed now. Like, his level of evil is beyond anything I've ever seen depicted in media, except for, like, one example in a Marvel DC crossover.
You're right, but you're wrong. They're not wiping out the entire universe, but they are getting, like, entire battleships worth of people, maybe even entire stadiums at some point, however many, and sending them to die from fart monster. Purple fart monster.
I actually think they've been wiping out universes, because he says they started with multiple, and then there was only one.
Maybe, I'll assume that.
And so the level of evil is unbelievable in this guy, right? And so any mildly moral person would never even think about, yeah, you have a point here. Like, no, because it's based on an assumption that doesn't even work if it was carried out logically, but the show will try and say, it'll always lead to a multiversal war, but no, it shouldn't, even logically it shouldn't.
And to be fair, they've disproven it too, because they did kill him, and Loki went back to the TVA, and the only thing that changed was the statue.
No.
So the solution...
A whole hell of a lot.
Change.
And this is...
Holy crap. No, but my point is, is that...
We've got to wait on that point. Don't bring up the end again yet, Oz. I'm not ready to talk about the end of this
the more
episode.
evil version had the exact same solution as the less evil version.
Not necessarily. No, we don't necessarily know that.
But he showed up and Mobius was there. It was all exactly the same except for the statue. So maybe this
No, it wasn't exactly the same. They couldn't remember Loki.
Yeah, sure.
That means
wait for this. Wait for it.
Oh, wait.
Hold on to it, Shad. I believe in you.
Owen Wilson won't know about his jet ski? What the hell was the point of that? Is it going to be two universes?
We need to wait until we get there.
I'm upset like you are now.
So his methods are just deceptive. Bull friggin' crap! Oh gosh, I almost spat when I was watching that. All right, so now we come to the multiversal war. Let's break down the multiversal war because this is.
Nice.
Okay, so they now like. Remember how I was saying they won't be clear? They won't they make clear this one point, but not everything else. So much else is still unclear. But at this point, they explain how the multiversal war happens. And I remember in my video on Shadiversity, I say the multiversal war doesn't make sense because for a multiversal war to threaten all reality, you would need every single reality involved in it somehow to the point where their own universe is threatened. But that is unfathomable because in the concepts of parallel realities, you have an infinite number of infinite numbers of parallel realities. And so it's just not going to work thematically. And I said that was a problem. So now we find out that's exactly it. And it's got not that problem, but even more so because the multiversal war is wholly founded on the presence of Kang in that universe. And so first of all, it's actually, this multiversal war cannot threaten all of realities. It can only threaten each reality that is involved in the war itself with that Kang. And so all the other realities, like ours, that doesn't have a real Kang, we're fine.
We do have Kangs in the past, though.
The other thing, it does not explain why they go to war.
Well, yeah, it's because they all thought that, hey, you know, just as we're all working together, there could be some people who are like, hey, we could get in charge here.
Yeah, no, so he says that some of the variants of him look at other universes as lands to be conquered.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why it doesn't make sense, okay? At what point, when obviously it'll become infinitely too much to manage? Go with me here, okay? This isn't just a planet invading another planet. This is a universe invading another universe. Do you know how big universes are?
They're pretty big.
They're insanely big.
So what's the solution to managing all of time and space in every universe? The TVA. It's the same solution each time, no matter how evil or good the version of himself is.
We've already argued about this. Stop trying to come back to it.
But that's my solution to that.
No. This isn't my solution. My problem here isn't even related to that. It's a matter of resources and the amount that'll threaten, right? The amount of time it would take for one universe to conquer another universe, just two in battle, right, is a scale that is unfathomable in regards to how big a universe is. For resources? Do you know how many friggin' planets are in the universe? Not just a galaxy, a bloody universe?
You forgot one thing.
What?
Gauntlet. What if you had the Infinity Gauntlet? They have a ton of Infinity Stones.
Yeah, but again, that's a headcanon thing. That's just like a what if.
Well,
thing.
if Thanos...
So he's invading to get other Infinity Stones?
No, but he can use Infinity Stones from... Oh, God,
so, but that means that he would have to. That means that he would have to compete with the Kang of that universe and getting all the Infinity Stones first.
It's like they had a war almost.
But what is justifying the war? It seems to me if you're after resources and technology, I mean, this Kang might have been served a little bit better by taking on the Nova Corp. They have a lot of technology and everything like that. They're just a planet away. They're not in another friggin' reality.
I can prove it, right? What? Let's say I live in a universe without water bottles, and you are the different version of me. Give me that. It's mine now.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give it back.
Is there logically any universe that Kang comes from where they didn't have water bottles?
No, but
No, this is the point. Because what resources are needed, and this is very important because this is what would trigger a war. So therefore, and the entire premise of the show is built on the foundation of preventing a multiversal war and how bad it was.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't make sense because what would really logically, thematically cause a war between realities?
Dude, in my reality, my girlfriend died and yours is still here. I want her.
Okay, so you get that? Do you need to go into another reality to get another one?
She's impressed by massive acts of, crazy stuff.
Do you see my point? Where, like, once you conquer one, like, you're going to get enough resources of what you need after a certain number.
She stepped on the same landmine the first girlfriend did. Got to get another one.
No, but we're dealing with...
Infinitely.
He says that there's an infinite number of these Kangs, right, that are doing this. And so, honestly... One, it doesn't make sense for just the justification, what really is causing it. They don't explain it, and I don't really see a logical thing to make them think, I need something for that. Look, honestly, the best one is actually your one. It's like, the only thing that another universe has that you wouldn't be able to get from your own universe is a person that is dead in your own universe, perhaps.
Yeah.
Okay, or resource. Could they be after Infinity Stones? But once you get one to complete your set.
It's useless in another universe.
Could it be?
No, I think that they are useful in the MCU. I think they are usable in other universes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Could it be possible that all they just want is conquest and power?
Well,
and so
power is its own reward to these
so
people.
think about that. How many do you need? And so it'll never be enough.
All of them!
On the scale of infinity, I think you'd start to cap out at a few billion. That's just me.
Dude, this guy has stamina, okay?
I don't think so. I just
no.
don't think so. Not on this scale. On the scale of universes.
If you had the capability to comprehend that much, which it seems like he does, because
No, he doesn't. He was a regular person.
Well, here it
yeah, no,
goes.
but he's a scientist that's brilliant to the point where he was able to actually bridge the gap between universes.
And he says he already knows everything that's going to happen. He's
Yeah, like
written it all
he
down.
can
He's tapped it
literally
all out.
he it's almost like he's a fifth dimensional being. He lives in and experiences all of time all the time. Like
Always.
and so if he can comprehend that, it would make sense that he would be able to comprehend the
But if
existence
he's a
of
human,
multiple
how the hell
universes.
does he do that? How does he do it?
Well, see, this is the thing, and again, they don't explain it, but that's a Marvel thing.
The multiversal war is a garbage idea that doesn't make sense. They don't explain. Like you could try and justify maybe one universe invading another universe, something very specific. But then if you're after a dead girlfriend, once you got the girlfriend, job done.
Yeah, but she stepped on the same landmine as the first girlfriend.
So you just need to find out and then avoid the landmine.
For
Job
some
done.
reason, the landmine's magnetic to her.
To
I don't know
cause
why.
a war on the scale of an infinite number of universes fighting an infinite number of universes and stuff like that, like it could probably work with every single universe with a Kang wants to invade one universe, but because they all invade one other universe, that brings them all into the war. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. They're all the same, basically the exact same Kang, but because they all do the same thing at the same time, to them it seems infinite.
That could be potential, actually. Yeah.
We've solved the problem. The writers couldn't, right?
Right, it's made the problem.
Yeah, right. This is the thing then. Okay. Even if you go with it, which I still don't like, I think it's so dumb, right? And you justify a reason why universities, when you have all the resources you would ever need, except for some very specific examples in your own universe, okay? It doesn't really create a problem for the single universe because the universe only needs to fight off one. It doesn't need to fight everything. Look, like, priorities, the world going to hell, priority to protect my family first. I'm taking care once my family is protected.
You pick a situation that isn't so close to home, Shad.
Yeah, once my family's protected, you expand outwards. And so right now, I don't give a toss about other realities. I would care about my reality first and foremost.
Well, that's. I mean,
What if you're
like they didn't quite explain it, but he said that during the multiversal war, he said specifically everyone was trying to protect their own reality. That's what he said.
So that shouldn't threaten all reality.
No, it shouldn't threaten all reality. It should just threaten their own. But
The one thing, and it's just like fighting Thanos. Then get the Avengers together. Done. And they're going to do that. This is what it's leaning towards, right?
Yep.
Like, Kang the Conqueror is going to be the new Thanos bad guy in the MCU. And fine, get the Avengers to fix it. Let everyone else fight themselves. Those realities are their own concern. Now, they try and... I wonder if this is the reason why they tried to force in, we need something to threaten all the realities because when you really think about it, a reality going to war with a reality only concerns these two ones, not the greater thing. I know, let's fart out a monster that eats realities and times. How? The war and the fighting in the spaces realities creates an entity that wants to eat us all things. That has as much logical through line as goblins were created from someone sneezing. I'm not kidding.
I like that idea. Can we make him purple in the show, though?
A purple fart monster?
Give him a skull. He's menacing.
Like-
He's scary. And his butthole opens up, and there's the end of time.
Like, really? This is just like a kid saying, what if we did this? Wouldn't this be cool without
Yeah,
thinking
man.
of any logical cause or through line? Like, the purple fart monster is that. It's just a monster that they ripped out of a fart because of a multiversal war thing.
It's actually Barney's soul at the end of time. He survived, and now he's consuming.
It's so dumb. It's like next level dumb. And just,
Yeah, it's Marvel.
know-
It's Marvel.
But
And there are ways you could try and justify certain things, right? Like, I explain this in my Loki video on Shadiversity, where I say, let's just say, traveling between realities, to do that, you literally need to rip like a hole in the fabric of reality, which doesn't heal itself by natural means. And the more you do it, more rips. And that breaks down the stability, like breaking apart the foundation under a house. Now, what I'm describing here is something that you can understand logically and thematically. Because like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, and then you say, too much would cause the barrier between these realities to collapse, which means there's nothing separating them, and they fall in on each other. And then it causes matter to occupy the same place as matter, and they destroy each other like matter and antimatter.
Yeah.
That makes complete logical sense. You can make, and so you can justify this with a logical through line to explain how reality could be at risk through certain things, but by establishing simple rules that makes sense and everything like that. This with the fart monster, the purple fart monster,
Barney.
they just
Barney's
say.
ghost.
Just say an entity that comes because of the war between realities.
Okay.
He's the beast that comes.
So it's a creature created from all the tears in reality.
Like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but they actually do that a lot. Okay, what's a good example? Kingdom Hearts is a good example.
Well, the Kingdom Hearts is stupid.
You have Heartless, which are creatures which are born from the darkness found in the hearts of mankind.
That makes more sense.
Why?
Because people are actual entities with consciousness, and emotion is something we can fathom and understand, okay? And so the idea that emotions have power has been in literature and stories in a thematic sense for ages. And so that darkness and evil intent, okay, we almost feel like when you do something wrong, it's easy to do something wrong again, to the point where you almost feel an encouragement to do evil. And so it's actually kind of makes sense to personify that as a type of evil entity. We see it in theology as well, all right?
Yeah, because which has existed longer, you or the emotion you feel?
Exactly, okay? So that makes sense.
Yeah. So
do tears in reality have emotion or consciousness?
Right.
This is why there's no thematic connection or logical thing. It's like saying a building fell over and spewed out a baby.
Dude, come on now. 9/11 is no thing to talk about here, okay? We can talk about fart monsters and coming.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Because, okay, so the reason I was confused was because I thought that the fart monster was born of the fighting that happened through realities.
No. And this is the thing. I'm not saying it's impossible to try and justify this creature. I'm saying their explanation was laughably lazy and pathetic.
Okay,
You know how you explain? Establishing simple rules. A universe has a type of unfathomable sentience to it. It has a comprehension.
Like God.
Kind of like, you could always say it has almost a thematical thing. You could almost equate it to kind of God, right? Like that. And that a universe that was being destroyed in this war actually started to react to it.
Right. It kind of sounds like a bunch of aliens banging each other until they birth a chaos god.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
It can be done. You can explain it, and then you say one of these dead universes was irreversible, like someone did an Infinity Stone something in trying to protect it or something like that caused the universe to absorb its power back and gain greater sentience, and then it became hell-bent on revenge because another universe was trying to destroy it, and then its whole identity became consumed with the idea of destroying other universes before other universes destroy it, and it can enter other universes and start to literally eat space and time.
Yeah, okay.
Or Barney farted.
Or it's just the birth of the space monster.
Yeah, so actually when Eliath roars, if you speed that up to 100 times, you can hear Barney singing, I love you, you love me.
Dude, I thought there was something familiar about it.
This is the thing. Well, I guess why I'm getting so annoyed about it, it's not that hard to just do a little bit more effort to explain something in a satisfying way. But they don't do it!
I didn't mind it. It was enough for me. I can just turn my brain off and be a retard. No, seriously, again, I know this is going to sound like, guys, it's space wizards in space. I know it sounds like that, right?
Oh, you better not be.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying things about time travel, it's almost impossible to get it right, and Shad's going to kill me if I say it. I'm not going to say it. What I'm saying is, I can forgive lapses in judgment with things like this.
So does this mean...
No. See, I can't forgive it. I fully admit you can ignore it. And if you can enjoy enough of the other things, you can try and ignore it, but it never excuses poor writing. Like something is bad, like under the standard you're judging it by, it's bad.
Oh, let me clarify. Yeah, it's bad, and it's got a lot of lazy writing, but I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, good on you.
So does this mean?
That's great.
Does this mean you would happily watch and enjoy the Tomorrow War?
I think I would rather happily watch and enjoy my own suicide.
This is the thing, though.
That rope you're talking about? Is there enough to hang myself with?
You've already given yourself enough.
I was going to say, but like, if you enjoy Loki for those reasons, wouldn't you enjoy the Tomorrow War for those reasons as well?
No, people have enjoyed the Tomorrow War. They can enjoy it, but people equate enjoyment with quality. No.
Yeah, but no.
I don't give a crap about. Oh, there's aliens invading. But I do like Loki as a character already.
Okay, no, fair enough. That is fair.
How can you like him in this episode? They've desecrated.
But I see the vulnerability. And I like that.
Desecrated Loki as a character. Like, this is one of the things that makes me hate this show the most, aside in conjunction with the horrible world building.
Maybe I just look at Tom Hiddleston and like him, you know?
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston is likable. I agree. Likeable. But the treatment of Loki's character in this series has been deplorable. Like horrendously bad. It's assassinated his character.
To be fair, Loki hasn't been the all-round nicest guy to everyone, which doesn't really...
He can still be an interesting and engaging character if he's bad, and that's why people enjoyed him, because he was that. Not anymore.
I still enjoy him.
Okay, so... he made TVA, so no variations of him would arise to challenge his timeline. Right, yeah. So that's a very important thing for the world building.
That's a paradox. If there's no variation of him to exist, how is it the multiversal war which leads to the need for the TVA?
No, he's avoiding that. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know, but if it's a chain of events that happen, take out the chain, well, there you go.
No, but this is the thing. According to Marvel world building, you can change the past because it just creates a new... So technically, the Sacred Timeline is a variant timeline that he purposefully created by destroying all the other realities that had him in it, so he could be the only one.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, and so... That, guess what? This is my... Because that point about the time travel, the entire show is founded on that principle, and in reality, not only that, all of the MCU, Endgame, the most important movie so far, is founded on this golden rule that should be treated immutably, because if you contradict this rule, you have just undermined everything. We'll get there.
And that might sound like it's not a big thing because it's a fictional setting, but dude, it is a big thing. It's making Shad very upset.
It is. Oi, you can be invested in these things and get pissed off with...
Yeah, fair enough.
Screw you.
Yeah, that wasn't fair. That wasn't exactly fair of me.
Halo.
No, Shad, no, that's different.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, you freaking hypocrite.
Halo existed before the MCU.
646 is it? Or
343?
343? Yeah, Halo 343. Who would get upset at a video game that doesn't even exist?
It's existed for 8 years longer than MCU. I have 8 years.
You're such a
You weren't there, man. You weren't there.
You're such a raging nerd getting upset at fictional things.
Point taken.
Thank you. Wrecked. Okay. So, all right, now let's get to the ideology discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Love this stuff.
They drop line after line trying to justify the TVA. And at first I was hoping that this is just the words of the bad guy trying to justify himself. But no, the main character ends up agreeing with him 100%, which is the show's final judgment on the topic so far. And we have every right to judge it so far for this, because that's essentially what they're saying the TVA was justified in doing. Loki comes in and says, we made a huge mistake in freeing the timeline.
He's terrifying, which he wasn't. He seemed pretty likable.
No, he wasn't terrifying.
I want to hang out with him.
And so the problem is these lines that he says are lines that people use to justify communism and dictatorship. Like, what about this one? We've all done terrible things, We've all done terrible things. Now you can do them for a good reason.
Yeah, that was like...
What? What? Like, that was like King says, you've murdered, you've done bad. We've all done terrible things, but now you can do terrible things in a good reason. The show is saying, like, you can do terrible things so long as... What?
To be fair, it was the villain saying that.
But Loki agrees with him.
Well,
see,
not necessarily. He says we made a mistake. That might be referring to killing him because he did say, "Let's just wait, think about this."
You're giving it way too much leeway.
I am giving it leeway, but not way too much.
It doesn't deserve it, man. This was Loki. They were trying to say
things again,
no.
Shad.
This is the show trying to say that the TVA and Kang's original mission was justified for the greater good. It is better for all those realities to die, like in the eventual reality. Because this is the thing: people going to war, caught in the war. Okay, a lot of innocence is going to be put, I think, but like the people causing the war, it's the natural result of their own bad choices. So sleep in the bed that you made, and everyone, like the thousands upon thousands of people, the entire realities that existed in all the times previous to this could have still existed had free will gone fine. Okay. But the TVA is seeking to not only punish all of them, literally wipe out of existence entire realities.
So you say don't compromise to evil no matter what?
Yes.
Based.
It's better to die in righteousness than compromise those morals to survive and live, if it's even in luxury or whatever. No. You don't compromise...
On your principles.
On the principles for a greater good, okay?
Stick by your guns, guys.
No, because that is morality, okay? As soon as you're willing to compromise something for what you think is a greater good, as soon as you're willing to commit evil for good, you become evil. And you're not good anymore.
Yep.
All right?
It's the means that justify the ends, not the ends that justify the means.
How you go about achieving something is as important as the goal itself.
So never let go of your values. Let them take your values out of your cold, dead hands.
Yes. Stick to your guns and don't let anyone try and swindle you into making bad decisions.
Because that's the
for
devil.
A supposed good decision and a good outcome. Because that's bad.
In the words of a great man, life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. If you're wondering what I'm quoting from, Way of Kings, you'll get there. Absolutely. Sorry, Stormlight Archives, Brandon Sanderson. But the Knights Radiant are built on the philosophy of the opposite of the ends justify the means. It's literally built on the philosophy of the means justifying the ends. The importance is the journey, not the destination. Hence, journey before destination. It's what you do along your life that actually sums up who you are and what you believed in, not where you ended up. And where you end up is going to be determined by the journey itself. And so journey before destination is actually another way of saying what you were saying before. And that's the morality. And that's, Brandon, love you, mate. She's got the right philosophy there. Yeah.
I was just going to say, because it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, we're all going to wind up in the ground someday.
Yep. Well, our bodies will.
Well, yes.
That's the final white pill, guys.
And so this show, although it's I think it's being very subversive, where it's kind of being from a bad guy, but this is the bad guy trying to convince someone that he's right, with the main character end up agreeing with him.
Well, it's a central question.
And people experience shows through the eyes of the main character, and they're very inclined to agree with the main character because they become invested with him, they become associated with him and things. And so then, a lot of people might be going along with Loki saying, yeah, it makes sense. Like if the end goal is right, you can justify things that are a bit, maybe not terrible, a bit grey, like we could ban people off, we don't need to allow their opinions to be shared. So a bit of censorship is okay as long as, I think it's bad and it serves the goal that I want. Like the world is literally in this battle right now, where you think this type of the philosophy is not important. It is fundamentally important because it is front and center stage in the world right now, where people are trying to achieve certain goals and people are trying to justify immoral behavior and immoral tactics, evil tactics, for what they are claiming to be a virtuous goal. And that is wrong.
That's why I think what they say their ends aren't actually their ends. The ends is what their means are. They're doing what they want to happen just because it's the convenient thing. They're saying this is what we want, but it's not.
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
care about that. They just want to ban people or do these other things, which
Case
I don't
in point,
like.
it is bad to depict women in a sexist way because that's sexism. But it is okay to depict men in a denigrating, belittling, sexist way because it achieves what we want. But they say it's equality. They're saying equality is the goal, so it's okay to depict men in a sexist way because it achieves the equality. But guess what? That's actually not equality. It's not equality at all. It's a complete reversal of the power, and it's inequality, it's injustice, and they're contradicting their morals, and that reveals they're not actually after equality. They're after power.
Stalin did exactly the same thing, because you know how communism is a classless, stateless society? Back then they knew this too. Stalin approached this by saying, no guys, we won't achieve communism by dissolving the state and classes. We will achieve true communism by enlarging the state's power, by giving it so much power. That's what he said, you know? Made everyone believe it, this backwards thinking.
No one will own anything, and everything will be owned by everyone.
You will own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah, but I mean, we need someone to kind of,
Oversee it all.
Oversee it all,
Yeah.
So everyone gets the same amount and everything
Let's
like
say-
that. I mean, it does require me if I control everything and who is allowed what, that effectively means I own everything.
So you're saying you found this problem, you've hyper-focused on it, and your solutions that you offer to everyone affected by this problem completely benefit you entirely? What? And after these solutions, you're at the very top and everyone else is lower?
And are you saying even creating problems that were not big in the first place and sometimes not even there can be a catalyst or a causal thing for me to try and get power?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Let's do this, dude.
There's problems, and I will save you from the problems. Even if the problem is made up, I will save you from it. Give me the power to save you, because you are disadvantaged, and you're in danger, and the world's gonna end.
Yep. And unfortunately, so many people are weak and stupid, and they will never achieve these things, no matter how hard they try. So you have to give me all the power, all the responsibility. No one else gets it. I'm sorry, guys.
And this is what I was saying, because at the end, the person with all the power is going to be dead. And the person who was being the little guy and helping everyone else and lifting everyone else up, he's still going to have power after he's dead.
That's the one thing that God gave to all of us.
Exactly.
Death. Thank you, God.
So with the examples I was saying, just in what we were talking about, I'm seeing clear parallels with the TVA and Loki, right? And then the fact that they're trying to justify it. Kang said the other day, I'm actually not really bad. You think I'm bad? You think communism is bad? Let me explain, okay? It's actually important. In fact, what we're fighting for is so important that it justifies that I can have all the power, destroy all the realities, because we need to avoid this big bad thing.
Yeah. Without me, things would be worse. Sounds like a threat.
It's exactly the themes, the underlining, causal relationship is very similar, right? And the fact that this is coming from a bad guy convincing the main character that it's justified. It's like Stalin trying to convince, who opposed Stalin?
He was either
a lot of people,
or he just died.
It's Stalin trying to oppose, someone who believed in freedom and democracy, saying, look, the gulags were justified, okay?
Because if we didn't have that, we'd have anarchy.
I know, we would have anarchy, and
these political
people would rise up, and there'll be so much bloodshed in this war. I needed to put the people who were going to fight against me in a void zone.
Yeah.
I'll call it the gulag or the void, where a lot of them die, probably to dysentery and so farts.
They were literally getting people out in the middle of nowhere, like villages, small farming villages, getting them like, they're politicals. They're trying to overthrow the system. This small farming village in the middle of nowhere is trying to overthrow the Soviet state. Put them in the gulag. Like, how crazy is that?
Is it
58 political prisoners?
Completely
Crazy.
Innocent people.
Yes.
And
torture them until they confess to this crime that didn't happen.
They kind of sound like variants. The parallels are right in front of you guys.
Conrad, you're late to the factory.
And then this show is trying to say it's all for the greater good.
It's all for the greater good.
All for the greater good. And this is the thing. It is better for that multiversal war to destroy everything than the tyranny and genocide. We're talking about genocide on unfathomable, galactic, universal levels perpetrated by Kang and the TVA.
Yeah, and guess what's doing it? They're putting all the things that have changed, they're putting them all to the fart monster to kill. The fart monster's killing, right? What is a fart but gas?
They're getting gassed.
They're gassing entire timelines. They're worse than the Nazis.
Like, holy crap, right? I can't believe it.
You can't escape the Nazis.
And
Not
this
even
is-
Loki.
This is blatant stuff, yet the show is literally it ends up being on Kang's side through the lens of Loki. And the reason why, like, it's the main character justifies it. We see another parallel to the show. We can figure out what the show is saying by what the characters say. Okay, and there is no other, like, Sylvie is kind of the counterpoint. Good on you, Sylvie. You're the only non-insane person we've seen so far.
Well, she's a woman, so...
Right? But Loki's right, because this is the main character. What Loki says has far more weight than Sylvie. And Sylvie almost looked like she did something wrong. Did you see after she killed her?
She was a bit concerned.
She was a bit concerned, like, what have they done?
Concerned on her face.
Like, let alone, you know, the evil they're trying to prevent, okay, is literally being prevented by an evil of greater magnitude that you cannot even fathom.
That's the thing, right? The guy basically said, better the devil you know, right? But we've always had devils changing. We just have to keep killing them. So there you go, that's the solution. Just keep killing the devil when he rears his ugly head.
Exactly! Just kill Kang!
Because this thing was exactly the same.
Like, if the TVA was really concerned about preventing a multiversal war, you can have the multiverse and multiple Kangs existing. And look, this guy, he's not, you know, beyond doing a bit of baby murdering. That's essentially what he was wanting to do with Sylvie, okay? Yeah. And so he would, like, there's no moral qualm of him just going, he can travel through time, killing all his other his variant selves, Kangs, when they're babies.
Yep.
And leave himself alive. Done! You don't need to destroy universes and literally countless individual people variants, stuff like that. So not only is this, like, horribly evil, this guy is a friggin' moron!
I'm just picturing Kang going through maternity wards with a silencer and going like, congratulations, are you keeping it?
By the way, I think that's evil as well.
Oh, yeah.
Killing baby Kangs, bad.
What if they were still inside
So
the
this is
womb?
why I like killing baby Hitler? No, you don't kill babies.
What if
okay?
they were still inside the womb?
This guy wouldn't care. Like in terms of the scale of, like, death he has wrought, this is a walk in the park to him, and it's on such a smaller scale, yet achieves exactly what he wants.
You wouldn't even need to kill the baby. You could literally just, like, drop a morning, like when the parents had sex.
Dude, the joke's gone. Okay, I think you need to abort.
No, but when
Pull out! You pull out!
Ben beat me to it. He beat me to it. Nice. No, but seriously, right? You wouldn't need to evaporate anyone. You could just, like, after they've had sex while they're still sleeping, just sneak in the night, drop a little morning after pill in their water. Bob's your uncle. Oh, well, not anymore because
No one's bobbing anyone's uncle.
Okay. Oh,
If Kang was the result of, you know, someone bobbing their uncle.
sure.
Okay, so
Is it inbred?
So Kang is a moron. Like, he could avoid, like, again, and the show, right, establishes, problem is the multiversal war. The only way to avoid the multiversal war is to wipe out all other else. But there's a lot of other easier ways to avoid this war. A lot. And even, let's pretend it's not the case. Let's pretend you could avoid this multiversal war. That is a much better outcome than the evil being wrought to try and prevent it. Like, Sylvie's right. Just let the chips fall where they will, and you make the right you make the right choices. You do the right thing, even if you end up dying in the war that you can't prevent. That's a much better outcome because you died doing the right thing.
Yep.
Than living through having done the wrong thing.
Yep. It's
Okay.
like the bloody communists. Would you rather be this tainted evil creature that did unspeakable evil things to other people just to survive, or would you rather die with honor and dignity and be accepted into whatever after?
If you're wondering, like, there has been some few comments saying, you guys are really against communism. Why is that? Like, it's based on the fundamental philosophy, okay? And communism is built on the fundamental philosophy that evil is justified for the correct outcome.
Yeah.
Okay? And that is, and not, like, the reason why that philosophy is so profoundly evil is because it leads to unimaginably. Like, as soon as you
Horror.
accept that, and we've seen it in history, like,
Over and over again. 130 million
yeah,
people?
just have a look at the Gulag Archipelago. Go read that if you want to see the horrors that can end up by that first thing. And this is why you have to nip it at the bud, right where people are even thinking about it. This is why when we see it promoted in shows like this, we jump on that crap because it's accepting that ideology, right? That philosophy that leads to some of the most horrible things in the world. And we're seeing in the world today. We're literally seeing people justifying like horrible, terrible things, and it even begins with censorship online, okay? Where there people are okay taking away other people's voice because they're saying something harmful, even though other people's views and opinions are as offensive to me with my own conservative values, but I let them say it because I understand this basic principle. I'm not going to commit an evil to try and promote my own ends.
That's the separation though, Chad.
Yes.
They don't.
Yes.
I called you Chad for a second there because I'm seeing it come over you. They don't have principles. I asked my friends this once. I said, "What's your principle?" And they said, "Being reasonable." I'm like, "Okay, that's not a principle. How do you know you're being reasonable?" Like, it is, because I'm right all the time, you know? Like, anyway, yeah. But even then, right, Stalin wasn't even the worst. He did that out of malice, but he wasn't the worst. The worst was done by Mao out of idiocy. Have you heard the pig iron thing?
No.
Can I quickly go over it? Okay, great leap forward. We need to get all this iron together so we can build great cities and stuff like that. So what they did is they went out throughout all the country and, farm areas and pretty much everywhere. And they said, guys, tear the nails out of your houses, right? Turn in your farm equipment, turn in everything. We're going to get a mass stockpile of iron. They got all of it together, tearing down houses, destroying farming equipment, tools, everything, melted it all down, and they had useless pig iron that did nothing. Stuff bent in your hands. And so as a result, the people who just torn down their homes and destroyed all their farming equipment, they had no homes, so they froze to death. They had no farming equipment, so they starved. 30 million people dead. First great leap forward.
There was a couple of other things as well, because it wasn't that at the same time when they were literally reappropriating the land. Yeah. And Stalin, he stole land off the farmers and then and killed a lot of the farmers in the process. And then no one was left alive who knew how to actually farm efficiently. Yeah. And it contributed to this massive famine. And how many people died?
In the Ukraine, 7 million people in the space of a year. But that was one country in 1 year, the Ukraine. And that was on purpose. They purposefully starved them. There wasn't any redistributed ideas. They're like, hey guys, you have a handful of grains left in your house after harvest.
Well,
turn those in or get shot.
Some of the farmers were wealthy, Oz.
The kulaks. We have to eliminate the kulaks as a class.
Just because they were successful with their own hard labor working their farms and achieved a lot and built something better, I don't have that because I didn't work as hard. And so clearly they're evil.
Do you know how they did that? They couldn't send like a large amount of soldiers to every community to round up people. So what they'd do is they'd send one guy who was very charismatic. Sorry about this. They'd send one guy who was a party official to go into bars and be like, hey, this guy has more money than everyone here. Why is this? And they'd stir up trouble. They'd build a mob and they'd go out and destroy that person's home. They'd destroy the best farmer in villages, hundreds, thousands of villages. From envy alone, and for no purpose other than getting rid of a class of people who are a bit more successful.
And this is why hating the rich is such a terrible thing. We need to learn from the past, guys, and if we don't, we're doomed to repeat it. And if you think the past was bad, waiting.
There's more people now to die.
There's a lot more people who don't know how to farm now than did in the past.
Yep. And there's a lot more weapons we can kill each other with now. We don't even have to see them.
I'll just be a minute.
Yeah, it's Okay. Anyway, maybe we should speed this up so Benno can get home and see his family.
Yeah, I gotta go home.
So, all right, Loki completely falls at the finish line with the ideology thing, ends up promoting the wrong thing because Loki agrees with them. I think there is some area to argue saying, no, Kang was obviously the bad guy. I think it should be clear, pretty one or the other, what the show is saying. And because you can even argue that the show was actually on Kang's side and Loki agreed with him, that's not good with this. Not with the ideology you're messing with, okay?
Don't forget, they also tried to make Thanos a sympathetic villain with his views in Endgame.
Yeah, But luckily, actually, Game Theory said Thanos was correct.
No, he was wrong. The guy I keep shilling to you with the essays, the Economic Forum dude? Who did the Superman thing and all that. And he said that Thanos is completely wrong because within one generation, things are basically back to normal as they were before. You'd need to snap every generation or so to keep up that quota of the universe not running out of resources.
I haven't looked into it enough to know.
Well, he was right.
Thanos
was wrong.
So multiversal war. What is it? We risk unleashing. Loki literally says to Sylvie, what if by taking him out we risk unleashing something worse?
A different statue, perhaps.
I mean, just not ignoring the... So not ignoring... You are ignoring the fact by taking him out, you prevent the suffering and slaughter of literally countless numbers of people. Sylvie's the hero here. She is totally... Even though she looked like she was doubting, she's totally the hero. And Loki gets pushed out of the climax. Like he doesn't even get there.
She even let him in with a kiss first.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So, Shad, you're saying that the lady stopped Loki from climaxing?
After she kissed him.
He was fully invested.
And then she penetrated the black guy with her sword. Bro, this is a mess of a show.
But it's so, like, even if you don't mind all the problems with the foundations here, okay, this show was boring, like, and the fight was lousy, low tier. There was one somewhat interesting move where Loki does this kind of flip to get over an attack, but everything else was real bland. And then it's again anticlimactic because Loki just gets thrown away, and it's just the guy doesn't put on like the show just was talking with a lousy fight, and the reveals were not fun, interesting, or wow. They were just like, they ruin everything.
I almost agree with you, because so many times when I was watching the show across all the episodes, I'm thinking, is something going to happen? And then just as I feel that something does happen, but only slightly.
Yeah,
and
what's that something?
Just like, is something cool going to happen? They're just walking through the desert along the train doing nothing. Then, okay, we got a long shot, and then there's a planet falling and stuff like that. Or, is something going to happen? Like, they've just been walking throughout this castle. What's going to happen? Oh, they have a fight scene. There we go. It was just slowly getting this drip feeding me like a little ant.
Exactly. You're getting attracted by dangling keys.
Oh, piece of candy. Piece of candy.
Exactly. I was like, we're going to lose dangle keys. Dangle. He come on, I was going over here. And then
that actually worked on me once. He brought me into the studio that way.
And that's what they did with Mandalorian. With the fan service was just dangling keys to distract people from the mountains and loads of crap. And this is exactly in there with the house, and there is so much crap in this. And so Loki isn't. By the end, it's not even Loki. He's literally fighting for anti-free will. The god of trickery and chaos is fighting for order. Well, I couldn't believe it. No, authoritarian, overbearing, unfathomable order.
Across all timelines, always. For all time, always.
And Loki's fighting for it. I was watching this like, this isn't Loki. Who is this? And he's so earnest. He's not lighthearted. He's not trickery. He's not in control. He's not cocky. He's like, listen to me, Sylvie. He has a point. He's so earnest and serious and fighting. Like, he's got more in common with Steve Rogers now. It's like, this isn't Loki. This is utter garbage.
Evil Loki. You're always trying to hurt evil Loki's feelings.
I couldn't believe it. Oh, this is like this episode. I was hanging out like, when people were saying like Loki is feeling bad when in the first episode he's feeling bad when they show him the thing and everything like that, and he's not being tricky. He's like, Shad, what if this actually he's faking? It's all a fake. It's all.
I said that.
Right, and it's all gonna be a twist at the end where the real Loki was behind it all. No.
I wish that was the case.
No.
Would you have preferred that all of these illogical contradictions, or Loki literally just wanted to be king of all things at all time for all time?
If it was in line with his character, yeah.
Okay.
Even if he ends up being a villain, give us a good character, give us an engaging character, right? And this one is boring, bland, contradictory, flat, and you know how, like, I said that I was right about a lot of things in my initial predictions now because of this episode, where I said that the TVA was... I was worried that they're going to justify the TVA by the end. Let's play it. Let's play the clip.
Well, they barely justified it.
I think
it was like, but they replaced the devil with the exact same thing, basically, just a little more vain, and that's it. Instead of having three statues of different beings, it was himself. But
he was in control the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's my point.
The fact that Loki says that we made a mistake in freeing the timeline, the TVA, the show ends up justifying the TVA's mission.
For Loki. For
For
just Loki.
But for
What about other Loki?
Loki is the main character whom the audience is seeing through. He is the most authoritative voice in saying what the show is intending, and he says the TVA was justified.
Well,
Not word for word, but like that's exactly like what. He's fighting Sylvie, and he says, what if we unleash something worse? Like, he's literally saying the evil that Kang is doing is justified because he's afraid of, he thinks it's a greater evil that they're preventing.
But we don't know what his solution would have been. He's just saying we made a mistake in killing him too quickly. Maybe he had another solution, like just zapping all of them in every other timeline.
That would be another thing that they haven't explained. And, yeah.
And then the thing about Loki not doing a play, pretending, everything like that. I think I predicted that as well.
Yep.
And I'm sad I was right. I meant when I said I wish I wasn't. Do you see how annoyed and upset I am? Like, this is friggin' crap.
I'm quite enjoying it.
And it's because I just, I relied on the fact that the writers don't know what they're doing, and neither does Marvel anymore, by evidence of what they've done previously, and they are true to course. True to course. Okay, last thing. Ben's just messaging you. Thank you for... We're staying back late to do this, because we have another 5-day lockdown starting tonight. Yay! And so it's the last opportunity to do it. So.
What were we just saying about ends and means?
All right. So...
Here we go, guys. Get ready. Here it comes. Anticipate this. Open your eye holes for this.
All right.
And your ear holes. Well, actually, maybe close
Open
them,
all of your holes for this. Wait, no, that sounded bad.
The entire show, not only the entire show, the entire MCU, the plot, the events of the MCU, the things moving forward, everything, is now resting on the foundation that you cannot change the past. That if you go into the past and make any change, you create a branching timeline. The entire show has been built upon this. Mm-hmm. And so that means it is literally impossible, according to this type of time travel, to go into the past and make any change that has an effect on the future you came from, to effectively change that future, change your memories, and everything about it.
But then again, they're leading into the multiverse of madness, aren't they? So maybe Doctor Strange will be this.
This is paradoxical time travel now.
Yes.
And
paradoxical time travel is utter garbage.
Well, I mean, there's so many time travel movies that have paradoxical time travel.
They're still like Back to the Future. The time travel is unbelievable garbage in it. Unbelievable. Like, the paradoxes in it is unfathomable. Yeah. It's utterly stupid. And that undermines the investment you can have in the time travel itself, because it doesn't matter.
What about predestination? Because that's technically a paradox. It's a predestinational paradox.
Not if time is the beginning and end starts as one. We already mentioned that when we talked about it before.
Yeah, maybe. Sure. I guess that does inform the fact there'd be another loop inside there. So
yeah.
Sure.
So because this is the thing, right? Because in order for Mobius and Thunderthighs to not be able to recognise,
we still kept
Loki,
that name. Thank you.
I can't actually remember her
B58.
B58. Thunderthighs.
Maybe
in order
B58
for them to
is her bra size.
No. Yeah, anyway.
Is that big? I don't know.
No, B's.
Keep going, Ben. I'm on board with you here.
I'm sorry, Ben,
So,
go, Ben, go.
In order for them to not be able to recognise Loki, that means that if Loki is somehow in a branching timeline, that branch would have had to happen even long before Loki even first got there. Which,
to me,
like,
the TVA can't exist in a branching timeline. Like,
because they couldn't be affected by the timelines they're trying to control.
Yeah, because they're beyond all time, right?
But yeah, every single change that has happened, like, in the timeline has never affected the TVA.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? As proven by the fact these are variants.
Yeah.
Okay? The TVA destroys the timeline they come from, and they still exist, which means changes in the reality doesn't affect things in the TVA.
And how would killing someone at the very end of time affect any of the timelines whatsoever?
Exactly!
What the hell?
Yes!
Shad, I think you might be onto something with this whole thing. Careful, you don't want to thrash that around and spray liquid everywhere. There, get it all out. Now mess the bottle up.
Friggin' crap!
I like you. I like the
So
energy.
basically, it sounds like, and I mean, like, add whatever I'm missing here because I'm sure I'm missing something. So it sounds like either, okay, Kang's death has rewritten the history of the TVA.
That's what it seems like.
Since
No,
its
no, no.
inception.
All of time.
No,
apparently.
but like I'm talking specifically about the TVA. I
yeah.
understand the all of time thing, okay,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about specifically the TVA. So it means that it's completely rewritten the TVA since its inception, okay, or it means that it has created, it has released the multiple universes that were around before Kang kind of isolated everything into the main timeline, and Loki is somehow in a different one, or
But
like
they've already
this is the thing.
established anything outside the TVA doesn't affect the TVA.
Yeah, see, but
Nothing
that's the
should have
thing.
affected it.
So this is a major.
And they think, oh, big twist. No, it's not. Like, you might be saying, oh, but they're not clear. What if this is just they've been mind wiped or something? But no, the statues have even changed.
Yeah, like
Statue changed. That's
Yeah.
the most menacing part about it. Everything else is the same. The evil solution, but the statue
So now,
changed.
you can't change the past except when you can. When can you?
When it's a
Whenever
statue.
whenever the writers friggin' want them to, which means there's no investment in the time travel like things. They're like, I can go back and change it, and whenever the writers need it to now, it can change my own future. So why don't be invested in any of this garbage? The writers will change their rules at a whim to whatever, and they think, because for a good twist to happen, it needs to make logical sense. Like, oh, this happened, and it logically caused that. Yes. Case in point, look at the last review where we talked about My Mummy, Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
everything is explained beautifully to help us reach the results, okay? Explain how time changed with Kang's death at the end of time.
Literally nothing changed.
Can anyone figure out a logical reason to explain the change in the TVA that is just the natural result of Kang being killed at the end?
No.
There's nothing. It's just the writer saying, oh, we'll do this. Won't this be cool? It'll be really... Oh, twist! Cliffhanger! They don't remember...
Yeah. So this is the thing, okay? So like following the logical steps of the Kang that we've already established, okay? This one Kang was the one who was in charge because he won, okay? He won the multi-universal war or whatever, okay? When he is killed, it looks like what has happened is that it's made a different Kang who would be the only one because from the narrative that the first Kang told, there was only ever going to be one Kang because they were all fighting against each other. So,
Hang on. But where are you getting this, though?
What?
Where are you getting this?
He said.
What?
Like
where
you're
am I
saying,
getting what?
there's a new Kang that made the TVA, that replaced the Kang in the TVA?
No, let me get there.
Because
Let me get there.
I'm following.
this is all headcanon at the moment.
No.
No.
Let me get there. Okay,
following.
I'm talking about this using evidence that has already been established in the thing. So I'll start again. Okay, so the original Kang that we saw in the series said that there was a multiversal war,
And he won that war.
And he won that war, and
Yeah.
that is obvious by the fact that he's the one sitting.
He's
in
the
the
only
chair.
one left. Yep.
Okay, so he dies.
He won the war to prevent the war.
Yeah.
How did he win the war? By literally destroying all the other
Yeah.
realities that were at war, which kind of mean, I think that's winning, not
Yeah,
preventing.
not preventing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so
Stupid show!
okay, so he's the one sitting in the chair. Okay, so he dies. And in his death, somehow, magically, the entire history of the TVA has been rewritten. Okay? Because, and this is the thing.
Yeah, okay, so
Before,
how do you get to the somehow magically? Where's the through line that explains?
there is none.
That's my point, that's my point,
and
yes.
that's my point as
Yes.
well. That's what
Yes.
I'm saying. Okay, I'm with you on this
Good.
shit, okay? Okay?
Calm down, Chad. Sorry.
So, in this magical rewritten variance of the TVA, okay, they know that Kang is the one who's in charge. Hence why there's actually a statue of him, okay? They actually know about Kang, whereas in the original TVA, they didn't. They didn't actually know
Time
who was in
Lords.
charge, okay? And it was all, under the mask of the Time Lords.
Time to Chapo.
So, okay, in this new TVA thing that's been written, okay, what's happened is with the death of Kang, it has completely rewritten history, okay, where a different Kang has won the war.
How do you know that? How do you know it's a different Kang?
Well,
No,
if it would be the same Kang, why would there be a different TVA? If it was the same
when
Kang,
he
wouldn't
died,
he make it exactly the same?
I have a solution.
No, all rules are off. It can be anything. This could be the same Kang. And his entire timeline is now rewritten because you can change timelines now.
Yeah, but
thing.
if he was the same Kang, why would he make any different decisions to what he made the first
when he
time?
died, that reignited the war, right? And so a different Kang won that war.
And he already established that if he died, a different Kang would be in charge. He already said that.
He did. But it still makes no sense.
Yeah. It still makes no sense. But it means that it's rewritten time,
because he said you're gonna hate my other
exactly.
ones. And then he says,
it's rewritten time so that this other Kang has won the war.
Because there's going to be a new Kang the Conqueror who's going to be the main villain.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Kang that we saw in the original thing of Loki.
I agree with what will happen, like as a result in the thing, but what you have to realize is that there's no reason to actually reasonably cause this result.
Yes,
this is just the writers
no explanation
making
whatsoever.
it up.
And what's going to happen at the end of season 2 when they finally get to the evil Kang thing? Like he says the exact same thing.
Yeah, what if it's exactly
something
the same?
worse is going to happen?
Like,
just really
the next Kang's going to be a furry.
Let Kangs kill all the other realities. Just protect your own. And every time a new Kang comes in, fight him. Get the Avengers onto him. They can do it. They beat Thanos. I reckon they could take on a Kang who's a regular human and only going to have technology and things.
Yeah.
And so this show, I like the finale, really looks like they have just done a 180 on one of the more important rules of this universe about time travel, and the TVA as well, time travel and stuff. And so it can be anything now. They might just go back in time and prevent Kang from doing the multiversal war and rewrite the future, and because it doesn't create a new reality when you go in the past. Or it might. The writers this is why when it becomes arbitrary, you're not invested because this is like someone pulling out a gun and not shooting when no reason should be is given as to why it just didn't shot, and it's just a very unsatisfying thing where the writers are deciding just to save the hero. And this is the writers just pulling out bull crap to won't this be cool and this, and now they don't remember Loki. And
so I get a lot of enjoyment out of just especially fantasy, but really any kind of fiction, when there is a very clear set of rules established for the way the universe works. A really good example of this is the Old Kingdom trilogy written by Garth Nix. I'm not going to go into the particulars of it, but there's a very specific way that he's designed magic and technology and the way they interact with each other. And at no point does he ever, in the book, contradict those rules.
Oh, yeah. And there's many examples.
Yeah.
Rune Lord by David Farland, Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson.
Halo made sense until 343.
Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Not Wiseman, the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. These are all phenomenal books, and the magic in it is just because they're consistent with the rules, and you can get good payoffs.
Yeah, and I love it when something happens where you think that the protagonist is in dire straits, and then they whip out something that is unexpected but still conforms to the rules of the universe, and it is great.
And I should have, first primary example, Shadow of the Conqueror by Shad M. Brooks. I literally have this where there's a big payoff with the magic in it, where the main character figures out how to use the magic in a new and intriguing way that makes sense, comes out of left field, you're like, oh, it's awesome, because I love that. That's doing it right.
Yeah. And Loki hasn't done that for me.
Yeah, there's nothing to explain this. It's like, what? Why? When? Why? Are you friggin' kidding? And then the fact that it looks to be contradicting such a fundamental rule that you can't change a timeline. What? Oh no, this is how it'll work in the TVA zone, the quantum realm. You can actually change it. Yeah, come off it. All right, so Loki's friggin' garbage. I give the show a 1 or a 0.
Oh, that's a bit binary of you, Shad. Is it a 1 or a 0?
I'll have to think about it. Because, look, Tom Hiddleston was enjoyable. The production value, not the writing value, but the effects and stuff, that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, there was maybe one line I enjoyed.
What was it?
It's like, why am I here? And why is there an alligator there? And why on earth does that not surprise me as much as it should? Or something like, it's a funny line. It's like the only one I can remember.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston is relentlessly handsome.
He is.
Charismatic is good. Yeah. We still love you, Tom. I'm sorry for... You'll probably get offended by that. This show is garbage.
Tom Hiddleston comments
and I reckon they've ruined Loki. They've assassinated the character.
Don't worry, there's an infinite amount of Lokis we get to pick from again. We can go to a timeline where he's still interesting and pull him out.
Yeah, abandon the MCU timeline, guys. Don't even bother watching it. We'll watch it for you. We'll take the bullet and pain and then tell you how garbage it is. I want good MCU. I had hopes, but now I'm like, this is like the nail in the coffin. I'm just cynical now. I'm not expecting anything good, and if something if something good does come along, I'll be pleasantly surprised. So far, it hasn't happened because Black Widow is also garbage.
I enjoyed
it.
No, it's really bad, and we'll tell you all about it on the next episode. So they've been the game nights. Wish you a good night. I need to recover now.
Shad's on death's door.
I'm feeling sick, but like rage can give me power.
It's like Darth Vader in the lava. Hate kept him alive.
It did. The dark side was fueling me through that episode, and because the dark side actually isn't technically evil if you look at the philosophy of Star Wars, I'll take it.
Oh, you heard it first here, folks. Hey. Shad's calling on the darkness for power.
No. They established very
if only
the
the Sith
sword
deals in absolutes, and I believe in absolute righteousness. Sign me up. I'll be a Sith.
But no, they talk about it's not dark side is not inherently evil. It's the way you use it.
Yeah, emotion and passion.
Exactly.
So it's not about the size of the lightsaber.
Anger.
It's about the way you use it.
Final thing, anger and hate are not negative emotions. It's what you are angry at and what you hate.
You should hate evil.
You should hate rape, okay?
Yes.
Good to hate those things.
Shad. Love, don't hate.
Yeah.
Love all things.
Hate's always negative. Shut up. Okay?
Hate is just as natural as love. You should hate a snake that's going to bite you.
Yeah. Totally. And you should be angry at garbage writing like this and Disney trying to shovel crap into your face thinking that it's good enough.
And you're just like, $10 a month, this crap's pretty good.
Don't eat the crap. Don't fall for their shiny lights and, Tom Hiddleston is at his fair share. Like, don't accept the crap just because there's a bow on it called Marvel.
Big purple fart monster.